You're listening to the Bots and Bosses podcast, the only show where robots and humans attempt to work side by side. Presented by John Binks, technologist, author, and your AI ringling tour guide. So, buckle up and let's deep dive.
Welcome to the Bots and Bosses podcast, presented by John Binks.
This is episode 17.
And originally aired on September 6th, 2025.
Today's show is sponsored by Bots and Bosses.
This podcast was created by John Binks, along with multiple sources and experts. Every text you send, every video you stream, every question you ask, and AI data is just constantly flowing around us. It's like this invisible current, powering our modern lives.
It really is.
But have you ever stopped to think, really think, where does all that digital magic actually live? What's the physical stuff making it all possible?
That's a great question, and it gets to a surprising truth, what we call the cloud. It's not really this floaty, abstract thing.
Right.
It's actually a huge physical network of data centers, buildings, very real buildings.
So not clouds at all.
Not at all. These are the literal backbone of our whole digital economy. They're processing, storing, protecting everything. Your photos, your bank details, healthcare records, even, national security data.
Wow.
Without them, our connected world just wouldn't work. Simple as that.
And that physical reality, that infrastructure behind our screens, that's exactly what we're going to do a deep dive into today.
Yeah, let's unpack it.
Our mission is to look at the huge role these invisible giants, these data centers play. We'll look at their incredible growth, the massive energy and water they need, and importantly, the innovations and policy changes needed to keep things running sustainably.
It's crucial.
This isn't just tech talk. It's about the real world impact of our digital lives, isn't it?
Absolutely.
It really is amazing when you think about it. From the second we wake up, grab our phones, scroll through feeds, we're just constantly creating data.
All the time, whether you realize it or not.
We talk about the cloud being, weightless, infinite, but eventually that data has to land somewhere solid, doesn't it? On Earth.
Exactly. And that somewhere is the data center. Basically, it's one or more buildings packed with computers, servers, storage, networking gear, all working together. Think of them like super warehouses, just for computers.
Super warehouses. I like that.
Yeah. And inside, it's rows and rows of equipment, often caged off. And they have to be protected from, heat, humidity, water, environmental stuff.
Right.
If you actually go inside one, the noise is incredible. Thousands of servers humming, and this blast of cold air hits you. It really reminds you the cloud is very physical, very intense.
That sounds intense. And the scale. You mentioned warehouses. We're talking huge, right? The global data economy is trillions and growing.
Oh, mind-bogglingly huge. Over 50,000 data centers globally, and more are being built all the time just to keep up.
50,000, wow. And I heard there's one area that's particularly dense.
You're probably thinking of Northern Virginia. Data Center Alley, they call it.
Right.
It handles something like 70% of the world's internet traffic. It's astonishing.
70%. Why there? What's so special about Northern Virginia?
Well, it's kind of a perfect storm. They've got reliable power, lots of it. They're relatively safe from natural disasters, great network connections, plus a big customer base, policies that make it easier to build, and crucially, it's near DC. Government defense contractors. That's a big driver.
Oh, that makes sense. That proximity to government. You mentioned national security data earlier. That brings security to mind. These places must be like fortresses.
Oh, absolutely. Multiple layers of security. Fences, guards, biometrics, and even tighter controls inside for the really sensitive stuff.
So they're not just big, they're critical infrastructure.
Foundational.
Yeah.
Think about it. By 2027, the estimate is nearly $9 trillion of the global economy will depend on these places.
$9 trillion.
Imagine a major breach. Financial data, healthcare records, the consequences are just staggering.
And now on top of all that baseline growth, we've got AI, which here's like pouring jet fuel on this whole situation.
That's a pretty good analogy, yeah. AI models, they need enormous amounts of storage and processing power.
How enormous? Like, can you give me a sense?
Okay, so one query to a big language model, like ChatGPT, that's maybe 4,000 bytes. Sounds small, right?
Yeah.
But multiply that by millions, maybe billions of requests every day, globally. Analysts think AI could boost storage needs by maybe 33% per year.
33% annually. That's huge growth.
It is. And here's the kicker. Right now, globally, only about 3% of data center storage space is actually vacant.
Only 3%. So we're basically running out of room.
We're getting there
Yeah.
fast. It's becoming a real physical crunch.
Okay, the scale, the storage crunch, that's one thing. But let's talk about the power. This is where it gets really eye-opening, isn't it? Data centers already use about 4.5% of all U.S. electricity.
That's right, 4.5% today,
Right.
which is already a huge chunk for something most people don't even see.
And it's not staying there, is it?
Not even close. The projections are frankly shocking. It could hit 10, maybe even 15% of total U.S. electricity use by 2028.
Wait, 10 to 15%. In just 3 years, that's double or triple.
Exactly, double or triple. Look at Virginia again. Data centers already account for 26% of that state's power usage.
A quarter of the state's power.
Wow. And the really critical point here is, well, the U.S. energy grid just isn't producing enough power to meet this kind of demand growth. It's not a future maybe, it's happening now.
Okay, let's dig into that power problem. I assume a massive part of it is just keeping these things cool. You mentioned the blast of cold air.
Cooling is huge, absolutely critical, and incredibly energy hungry.
Right.
Servers generate a ton of heat. That loud noise you hear in a data center, a lot of that is the air conditioning systems running full tilt constantly.
So giant AC units, basically.
Essentially, yes. Massive ones, blowing cold air across the servers. And get this, somewhere between 30 and 40% of a data center's entire energy bill goes just to cooling.
30 to 40%, just to stop them melting.
Pretty much, just to keep them operating within safe temperatures.
And I read that this air cooling often has another big footprint. Water. How does cooling lead to using water?
That's right. It's the other big resource issue. Many large air cooling systems use water. Think evaporative cooling towers or big chillers.
How does that work?
Well, water is used, and a lot of it actually evaporates, turns into steam to help dissipate the heat.
Right.
A medium-sized data center might use, say, 300,000 gallons of water per day.
300,000 gallons a day.
That's about the same as 1,000 households.
Wow. 1,000 homes worth of water every day for one data center.
And that's a mid-sized one. This water usage is actually becoming a bigger challenge in many places, especially areas where water is already scarce. Power is one thing, but water, that's often even more constrained.
So we've got this massive energy demand causing problems for the grid, potentially delaying green energy plans, maybe even bringing coal plants back online.
That's a real concern in Virginia, yes.
And then this huge water demand on top of it. Plus, competition for that power between data centers, homes, other businesses. It really feels like something has to give, doesn't it?
It does.
Are we looking at a future of just skyrocketing energy bills for everyone? Or even worse, like blackouts, if we don't find new ways to make way more power?
That's the stark reality we're facing. Without major shifts, communities face really tough choices. Do you prioritize the economic growth from data centers, or do you ensure stable, affordable power and water for everyone else? It's not theoretical anymore.
Okay, that picture is, well, it's pretty daunting. But there must be some good news. Innovation usually steps up, right? What solutions are emerging?
Absolutely. There's a lot of innovation happening, which is good because we need it.
So what are we seeing?
Well, one area is just smarter computing, making the existing tech more efficient. MIT, for example, has developed something called the Clover system.
Clover.
Yeah. It uses a technique called power capping. Basically, it limits the maximum power going to a processor.
Kind of like putting your car in eco mode.
Exactly like that. A really good analogy. You tell the computer's brain not to work quite so hard.
And that helps how?
Well, MIT found it can cut the carbon emissions from running AI models by up to 80%.
80%? That's huge.
It is. And because the hardware runs cooler when it's power capped, you also reduce the need for cooling, which means less energy and less water.
That's clever. But even with smarter computing, you still have heat, right? Are cooling methods themselves changing?
Definitely. That's another big area. We're seeing a major shift away from just blowing air everywhere.
Okay. To what?
To liquid cooling. Instead of air, you pump a cold liquid off in water, but in a closed loop directly through or onto the processors themselves.
Direct contact.
Precisely. It's much, much more efficient at transferring heat away than air is. This drastically cuts water consumption because it's a closed loop. You're not losing it to evaporation, and improves overall energy efficiency for cooling. It's really a game changer.
Okay, so smarter chips, better cooling. And the big tech companies, they must be all over this, right? They're the ones building these giant centers.
Oh, they are deeply invested. They see the writing on the wall.
What kinds of things are they doing besides adopting these new techs?
Well, many are making huge deals for renewable energy, signing contracts to buy wind and solar power years in advance, locking it in.
That sounds good. Green energy.
It is good, but there's a catch. Renewables like wind and solar aren't constant, right? They're intermittent.
True. Sun doesn't always shine, wind doesn't always blow.
Exactly. And also, when a tech company buys up huge amounts of future renewable power, that often means that specific green electricity isn't available for, regular homes or other businesses on the grid.
Ah, okay. So it helps them, but maybe not the broader grid challenges. What else?
Well, there's a really interesting, maybe surprising resurgence of interest in nuclear power.
Nuclear, really?
Yes. Microsoft, Amazon, Google, they're all investing or exploring it. Microsoft is reportedly looking at reopening one of the reactors at 3 Mile Island.
Wow, the 3 Mile Island.
Unit 1, yeah. Scheduled maybe for 2028. The idea is to power their data centers directly behind the meter, so it doesn't even touch the public grid.
Behind the meter.
And that there's also huge interest in SMR's small modular reactors.
Small modular, like prefab nuclear plants.
Kind of, yeah. They can be built in factories and then installed right next to a data center, offering maybe up to 300 megawatts each, consistent carbon-free power right where you need it.
That's fascinating. Okay, so renewables, next-gen nuclear. That brings us to the really big one, doesn't it? The ultimate energy source, maybe, fusion.
Fusion, yes. The long-term holy grail for clean energy. And it's closer than many people think.
How close?
Well, there's a company, an MIT spinoff called Commonwealth Fusion Systems, CFS. They plan to open the world's first grid-scale fusion power plant called ARC, right there in Virginia.
In Virginia, where all the data centers are.
Exactly. And they're aiming for 2030. Google has already signed up to buy 200 megawatts from it.
2030. That's really soon for fusion. How does fusion work again? It's different from current nuclear plants, right?
Very different. Current plants use fission. They split heavy atoms like uranium. Fusion does the opposite. It takes very light atoms like hydrogen isotopes and fuses them together.
Like the sun.
Exactly like the sun and stars. That's their power source. It releases enormous energy. And the big advantage is, theoretically, it's much safer. No risk of meltdowns or runaway reactions, and it doesn't produce long-lived radioactive waste.
Sounds perfect. What's the catch? Why don't we have it already?
The catch is it's incredibly hard to do. You have to create and control plasma that's matter heated to millions of degrees, hotter than the sun.
Millions of degrees? How do you even hold that?
You can't use a physical container, obviously. It would vaporize. So CFS uses what's called a tokamak. It's basically a magnetic bottle. Powerful magnetic fields confine the superhot plasma. And CFS's big breakthrough was developing new superconducting magnets. Much stronger magnets allow them to build smaller, more powerful, and hopefully cheaper fusion devices. They tested a magnet successfully in 2021. Their Spark device is the next step, proving the physics in a real machine.
And the magnets themselves don't use much power.
The superconducting ones, very little comparatively. It's minuscule compared to the energy the fusion reaction itself would generate. It really could be revolutionary.
So smarter computing, liquid cooling, renewables, next-gen nuclear, even fusion on the horizon. That's a lot of technological progress. But what does it all mean for, managing this growth? Technology alone won't fix everything, will it?
No, you're absolutely right. Technology is crucial, but it's not enough by itself. This raises really big questions for communities, for policymakers.
Like what?
Like, how do we actually plan for this? We need transparent planning, regionally, nationally, maybe even globally. We need clear answers. How much energy are these centers really using? Who pays for the grid upgrades they require?
All right.
Can we actually balance this insatiable appetite for data with our climate goals, our decarbonization targets? How do we stop these energy demands from causing blackouts or just making electricity unaffordable for everyone else?
These are critical questions.
They are. And without proactive, transparent policies and planning, the risk is real. Households, other businesses. We could all end up paying significantly more for energy very soon.
So, if technology isn't the whole answer, what should we be doing? What are the concrete steps needed to guide this digital age more responsibly?
Well, based on the research, I think there are several key things, urgently needed things.
Okay, weigh them out for us.
First, transparency. We absolutely have to prioritize transparency. Companies need to disclose their actual energy and water use.
Just put the numbers out there.
Yes. As researchers, we push companies and, frankly, customers of these companies to ask for it. Tell me how much energy my cloud storage, my AI queries are really using.
Okay, transparency first. What's next?
Second, Keep accelerating innovation. Governments, private investors, they need to fast-track support, not just for efficiency, but for the big power sources, nuclear, those SMRs, and especially fusion. We need breakthroughs there.
Got it. More R&D support.
Third, real regional energy planning. States like Virginia, where this is concentrated, need clear energy roadmaps that actually account for this projected data center growth. You can't just hope the grid keeps up.
Plan ahead?
Makes sense. Fourth, AI efficiency standards. We need to build energy awareness into AI models right from the start. Make efficiency a core design principle, not something tacked on later.
Design AI to be greener from the get-go.
Exactly. And finally, fifth, community engagement. Local communities, the people actually living near these massive facilities, need to be part of the decision-making. How are water and energy resources going to be shared fairly?
So involve the locals.
Absolutely, because otherwise, let me just say it plainly, everybody is going to pay a lot more for energy unless we somehow figure out how to get a lot more clean energy online fast.
This deep dive has really highlighted it, hasn't it? These data centers are absolutely essential to our modern lives, but we're at this critical point in figuring out how to power them sustainably.
We really are.
From those humming server racks in Virginia to the incredible potential of harnessing fusion, it's clear our digital habits have a very real, very demanding physical footprint.
Indeed. It's a huge challenge, but also an opportunity. It demands bold innovation, like we talked about.
Yeah.
It demands transparency, and it demands smart, proactive policies.
You sound hopeful, especially about fusion.
I am hopeful. Look, the universe itself runs on fusion. That's its main power source. That simple fact gives me real confidence that we can figure out how to harness it safely and effectively here on Earth. We have the ingenuity.
Powerful thought to end on. So for everyone listening, as we lean more and more into AI, global connection, as the bots keep getting smarter, how might you, as the boss of your own digital life, use this knowledge? How can you advocate for a more transparent, more sustainable energy future for everyone, not just the tech giants? Today's show is human-inspired and powered with AI assistance.
Be sure to visit us, www.notsandbosses.com.
Remember, the bots are getting smarter, but you're still the boss.
Well, that's a wrap of this episode of the Bots and Bosses podcast. Enjoyed the show? Don't just listen. Follow the Bots and Bosses podcast and connect with John Banks online. Remember, the bots are getting smarter, but you're still the boss. For now, see you next time.